I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Spooky season greetings and salutations, and welcome to Hacker Slash. If you're joining us again, welcome back. Let's give these freaks a show. If this is your first time listening, welcome to the party. We are a horror movie review podcast dedicated to telling you whether a movie is a hack,
a total joke, a waste of time,
or a slash.
Totally killer, pun intended.
We believe horror is for everyone, and as such, we're rating these movies with the perspectives we've gained from our varying walks of life and the flavors of fear we fancy most. My name is Chris. I'm your friendly neighborhood slasher enthusiast. This week, I'm joined by the classic horror connoisseur, Sean.
So you just want to do this out in public?
This week, we're kicking off October with a Halloween tale of vengeance.
And make sure to stick around for our B-side at the end of this episode where we get into pranks gone wrong and maybe some proper Halloween etiquette.
This week's film amasses a lineup of horror veterans. Courtney Gaines, remembered as Malachi from Children of the Corn, Tony Todd, whose legacy is cemented as the titular figure in Candyman, and PJ Soles, who horror fans probably know from her roles in Halloween and Carrie. The trio came together to co-star in a film where the atmosphere of small-town celebrations and carnival lights set the stage for something much darker. And the story follows a group of bullies preparing for their yearly hazing ritual against local outcast Jacob Atkins. When their cruelty escalates, though, the night takes a turn as Jacob is resurrected to settle the score. This week, we're talking about Candy Corn. Sean, what were you expecting going into this?
Listen, with a name like Candy Corn, it seems like it would have some good Halloween vibes, you know? So that's kind of what I was going into. Like, I'm watching this movie pop up on the list as I'm like looking for stuff to watch. I saw it pop up a few times over the last few years or so, specifically around the Halloween season because candy corn, right? But, like, is it going to be a trick or a treat? I think that's what we're going to find out here. Is it going to be sweet like candy or just plain corny? I guess we'll have to see. But I was hoping for some good old-fashioned Halloween slasher vibes in this one, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's completely fair. It's one of those things where, like the movie Trick, which actually stars Tom Atkins, I really went into this thinking, okay, it's not going to be mainstream horror, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be a little spooky. It's going to give us the setting for the fall vibe. And you talk about, okay, is this movie a trick or a treat? The movie Trick was really just a trick. That movie was pretty awful. And I expected this to be B-tier, unimpressive, but I did expect decent Halloween vibes. I knew that we'd probably get inconsistency across the board in terms of performances. And we'd end up with something probably mid, but serviceable. And so when you go into a movie with those kind of expectations, Sean, you're like, okay, we're kicking off October. Give me a Halloween-themed killer. Listen, you know what you're getting into, and I think it's fair to set your bar accordingly.
I mean, it's true, right? Like, not every movie is going to be top-notch, and sometimes you're looking for that B-movie filler for the spooky season, and some of that stuff you can find some little hidden gems. Stuff that just gives you the right vibes, even if it isn't like the best movie out there. So, you know, that's all we can really hope for.
Yeah. And yet somehow, even though my bar was set accordingly, I was on a ride with this movie, Sean. A lot of it was, oh, wow, hey, because I would get excited seeing these people who we know from other films in the past. And the rest of the time, it was pretty just, okay, all right, cool. And there was one moment where I had this feeling of, okay, now this kill I can fuck with. And then another kill of, okay, this is some good aftermath. But aside from that, those are maybe 3 or 4 peaks and a whole lot of valley in this movie.
So true. I mean, right away, right? Like from the acting quality to the quality of the film itself, like, you know, you're watching a B movie, like from the get-go, which, again, isn't bad. Let's face it, it's not always a bad thing. We're talking about that. But something definitely felt off about this movie from the get-go. One thing is for certain, though, you know, we're talking about wanting like the Halloween vibes. I think you kind of got some Halloween vibes in this movie. There is nostalgia for Halloween in there. I think it's full of fall scenery. There's some foggy nights. It's a shitty carnival vibes. You got those jack-o'-lantern like lighting, you know, you got a little bit of that. It's got the Halloween feeling down, I think. But it is a little rough around the edges, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest surprise in this movie, right? I went into this knowing it's probably going to be pretty rough, and yet it still looked really good. I want to be very specific here because within this movie opening, you know that the acting is pretty trash. However, the rest of it looks pretty good. It's weird though because aesthetically, it's a cross between. Wow, I'm going to say something. It's going to be a very bold statement, and I don't mean this to be so much of a praise and a compliment, but you remember how It Follows has a certain cinematic quality. Mm-hmm. This does not have that, but the color grading that it executes, it feels kind of similar to that. Not in terms of something like the John Carpenter-esque atmospheric, like that movie has like a lot of, I'm thinking about even the taillight scene and it seems very vivid. This movie doesn't have that, but it does have better than expected cinematography and better than expected editing and color grading. So I think that was a big pro. Again, I just wish it wasn't weighed down with the really rough acting there.
Yeah, ruffles have ridges for sure. But like, I mean, yeah, like I'm with you. I see what you're saying. The cinematography, the some of the lighting, some of the atmosphere that we get in this movie, it is pretty good, right? That is one of the more surprising aspects of this movie. And you mentioned it before, just opening this episode up. I think one of the most surprising things about this movie is those horror icon cameos that we get. You're talking about mentioning PJ Souls, Courtney Gaines, and Tony fucking Todd, right? And so it's really surprising to see so many like noticeable names in this B movie horror film, but it's that same aspect that is kind of disappointing because I feel like these characters are way underused in this movie. And if they're just cameos, they're just cameos, but I feel like they could have been used a lot better for sure.
Yeah, just to be clear here, when you amass people of this quality and this caliber in your film, you have to know what you're doing with them. Because the other side of this is, if you're paying to get these people, you should know how to use it. I liken it to people, and this is okay, a tech reference, right? People who walk into a store and they're like, I want the top of the line of this electronic, but like, bro, you need the baseline. You need the base model. You're not ready for all that. You'll never tap into all the potential of that. So what are you doing?
Yeah.
Had this movie reallocated its funds elsewhere, maybe, or dare I say, took a little bit longer to bake in terms of what it was putting together, then I think this could have been way better off. Now, some of these folks did produce this film, right? So there's some involvement there. But it's just one of those things that troubles me every single time I see, oh, well, we got this person for name recognition. And that's exactly the strategy behind getting them in this film.
For sure. And it's probably just a little bit of a bait and switch moment, a little bit, right? I think when we look at maybe Tony Todd's character, we get a little bit more than maybe the other two. But also, the film kind of suffers from pacing issues as well. Like, there are just moments in this film that I feel like they just don't flow well. You know what I mean? Like, there's moments that feel good, and then there's moments of like, why are we sitting in this moment right now?
Yeah, dude, again, few peaks, many valleys. Long, deep, cavernous valleys.
Yes, deep, cavernous valleys for sure. And another thing, there's a real lack of scares in this movie. Like, a noticeable lack of scares in this movie. Like, we're talking about having the right atmosphere for sure, but the film doesn't deliver any genuine scares. It's really just all this mood and revenge and no horror tension.
It really is. And I think that's because it really wants to be another Halloween slasher, but it doesn't know how to execute anything new within that space. And that is a real big struggle for this movie. Something that I think is actually interesting. It also reminds me of Rob Zombie's Halloween. And again, not in a good way, not in a great way at all. But you have many men with long hair, and you get a killer who has a gnarly looking mask, who the design of that actually does not look
really
very bad
good
at all. It actually reminds me of something that Michael Myers would wear in Smith's Grove Sanitarium. It has that kind of element to it. And as we go further down the rabbit hole, I'll talk about this later. There are so many Rob Zombie ties to this movie, but it's one of those things where this thing that's scary about this is how it fails to live up to its own potential.
Is it just the trashiness of it all? Is that what it is?
I wouldn't even say that it's the trashiness of it, because it also doesn't commit to the trash the way Rob Zombie commits to trash. So it's
True.
tough, right? It's a hollow shell of what that could be. It
Yeah.
really doesn't, it doesn't execute. And that's a real big disappointment. But again, that's because it's not anything new. This movie doesn't have anything new to say, but even more than not having anything new to say, it also doesn't have a lot of love to give where it feels like, oh, this is great reverence and homage. And, this is made by people who care about the genre, who love the genre. So I'm not debating that. But why this? Why that? And I found myself asking why the entire time I was watching this movie. Because we already start with the classic trope of a prank gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then we end with nowhere new either. Like, it's just, okay, that was an experience. And I don't think it's even fun enough to really, be new, fresh, and original for someone who isn't familiar with the genre either.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. It's definitely, the problem is there's just not a lot of depth to the story, right? Just like you're saying, we've got a very familiar trope in the very beginning, and the way they carry through the film and the way they end the film and wrap everything up, it's not very, innovative, right? It's very familiar. It's a very familiar outsider tale, bullying, pranks gone wrong, all of that stuff. And, I think there was opportunity probably in there somewhere to it's okay to go down that road, right? It's okay. We're here for the slashers. We're here for some fun Halloween vibe slashers. It doesn't have to reinvent the wheel, but there has to be a little bit more depth to the story. Maybe invest in a couple of characters a little bit more. You know what I mean? Give us something tangible, not just a bunch of trashy characters that we don't care about.
Yeah, man. And I didn't even care all the way up through its ending. Legitimately, Sean, when this movie was over, I thought, okay, well, it's over. And that's such a bummer. And the more I think about this, the more there are so many things that remind me of other horror movies, and then specifically Rob Zombie's take on Halloween. But man, even the ending of this, I can tell it's trying to do something that sets you up as, oh, okay. They want you to imagine a world in which maybe this kicks off a greater story, or that there's more to happen with some of the characters in this film. But nobody wants that. And sorry, by nobody, I want to be clear. I can only speak for myself. I don't want that. I'm nobody. I don't want that. I'm not interested. You didn't sell it to me enough in this entire movie.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. I think the thing with the ending is it is predictable. It's pretty predictable, but I'm not necessarily mad at it. It just wasn't all that impressive. I do think, though, we get some solid moments when we get to the third act and to the end of this movie. There are snippets that I'm like, okay, we're doing something here. But then we don't do anything with it. We get a little snippet and then it fizzles out, and then we just kind of let the whole thing go flat, like you left a 2-liter with the cap off, for a few hours. It just doesn't feel great, There's no big payoff.
Flat soda is such a brilliant way to describe this movie. And actually, yeah, no, I'll save it for the rating. Holy shit. Yeah. This movie ends in a place. And actually, the more I think about it now, it's even one of the best parts about this movie visually is something that is ripped right out of Halloween 2018. So There's a lot happening here. There's a lot to be said, and I can't wait to get into these scores. But Sean, how would you describe the gore score?
The gore in Candy Corn is definitely present, but it's not this wall-to-wall splatter. I think they use mostly practical effects, which is nice, and it gives this old-school grindhouse texture to the film, which we love. I'm here for that stuff. But when the gore comes, it definitely feels violent, and there are some pretty good moments where we see some pretty cool stuff. So this one does surprisingly deliver some bloody, occasionally brutal moments, but it's not over the top too. It just doesn't commit to the bit, and it's probably a budget thing. But what we do get is at least earning itself a happy medium gore score.
And what about the animal report?
Well, let's just say that we don't really see any animals being harmed, but we definitely know that some were harmed at one point because we have an assortment of taxidermy animals in this one.
Yikes! Well, let's go ahead and get into our ratings then. Candy Corn from 2019. Was it a hack or a slash? And Sean, I think I'll just rip the Band-Aid off here. I'm just going to do that. Go for it. Sean, I need you to know and understand my relationship to Candy Corn. And my relationship to candy corn is that I fucking hate it. It is the worst Halloween candy. Why is it that waxy? It doesn't need to be. It's terrible.
You love it or you hate it.
I know there's a lot of people out there who really do love candy corn, and I love that for you. But in my house, candy corn is not a fucking thing. And what I mean to say is that, and for the listener, I want to paint the picture of how this movie came to our lineup. We had some scheduling conflicts. We are going to do another new release and couldn't really make it out to the theater. And I was talking to Sean, like, hey, let's swap around a movie in the lineup. We'll slide this episode to another day, etc. What do you got? And Sean comes out with bangers, as Sean always does. Sean doesn't have a bad recommendation, but he also looped in some other thoughts here. And when we went through the list of things, I'm like, okay, this or that. Okay, well, fuck it. Like, candy corn has 3 people in it. That's why I picked this movie, Sean. I picked this movie because of Tony Todd, PJ Souls, and Courtney Gaines. That is why, listener, this movie made it to the lineup.
Naturally.
And I want to paint the picture here that we could have covered this, or we could have covered 31. And I was actually leaning towards 31, and then I looked this up. I'm like, oh shit, there's like 3 people I really like in here. Fuck it, let's go. The director of this film is actually associated with 31. Sean, I don't know if you know this.
I actually did not know that.
He directed the behind-the-scenes documentary In Hell, Everybody Loves Popcorn, The Making of 31. And here's another weird connection for you. 31 also stars Richard Brake as Doomhead, who is actually in next week's film, The Strangers Chapter 2.
Nice.
Now, The Strangers Chapter 2, currently sitting at like a 16 or 17% on Rotten Tomatoes, and this movie has a better score. So it shows you that this had the makings of like, fuck, this should be really great. Sean, here's the thing. This movie has no identity, it has ambition, and doesn't know what to do with it. And like the candy, I fucking hated it. Never in my life would I have thought, well, I wish we had done the Rob Zombie movie. I never thought that would be a thing that I'd say on this podcast. But here we are, because candy corn, Tony Todd, may you rest in peace. Candy corn was the hack.
Man, we love to hear it. You know, we'll settle for the forceful, I'll take a Rob Zombie movie over this. That's great. I love it. Yeah, you know, Candy Corn is an indie horror movie that really tries to summon the spirit of Halloween. You know, it's got the foggy streets, it's got the spooky carnivals, it's even got some horror icons sprinkled in there, almost like little treats for horror fans. But as I said before, was this a trick or a treat? You know? And the atmosphere is its strongest aspect. I think it's dripping with the fall season vibes and this sense of melancholy that sets it apart from your typical slasher. But while the film almost nails the look, it stumbles on the bite. The story is super thin. The pacing drags. The kills, although grounded in practical effects, don't quite land with the impact that they should. You know what I mean? Like, we got some good kills, but the impact wasn't there. And I'll talk about that later in the spoiler section, like what was going on with these moments. And then the use of Tony Todd and PJ Souls unfortunately feels like cameos, like more like cameos than real contributions. And by the end, you're left with a movie that feels more like just a Halloween decoration than a Halloween classic, you know? It's nice to look at, but it's hollow on the inside. So when it comes to candy corn, this isn't that fresh, perfect bag of our seasonal treat, right? Whether you love it or you hate it, it's not like opening a bag of fresh candy corns or the little pumpkins that aren't like stale. They're soft, they're fresh, you know? It's more like that underwhelming bag of stale kernels that you have to hack out of your teeth at the end of the night because they're just so waxy and so stale. And that's the best way I can describe this movie. It's a hack. It's just a hack.
Sean, there's no fucking way you could convince me to eat something that sounds that bad. It's like, if by the end of the night that's what it's tasting like, fuck that. That's terrible.
I'm here for like the first few bites of candy corn. Like, I'll eat like maybe a handful of them, 3, 4, 5 of them. And I'm like, okay, this is good. And then after that 5th one, you're like, I can't eat any more of these.
Yeah, no, very small, brief shelf life on those things. The other side of this, though, you mentioned this in like the Halloween decoration. this feels like a Halloween decoration that I walk up to a store and think, oh, that looks cool. But then in all practicality, I have nowhere to fucking put it. It goes with nothing. It serves nothing. I'm just buying it because it's Halloween. That's this movie. And with that, Candy Corn has earned a universal hack. Now, you can find this movie streaming in a couple of different places online. If you want to say fuck it and still soak in the Halloween vibe, please go check it out. But stick around, join us in the spoiler zone so we can really unpack this one. We'll be right back.
Step right up, ghouls and gals, if you dare, and witness the grotesque glamour of the spectacular Spook Show spectacle, where you'll see a show filled with spooky and freakish things that nightmares are truly made of. Come and behold such frights as our very own ventriloquist doll Chucky. He's so good he doesn't even need a human with him. Feast your eyes on Freddy, the original Burning Man. The scars are horrifying, but wait until you get a fully immersive experience as Freddy puts you under hypnosis and creates a nightmare so terrifying and so real, you might just not make it out alive. Forget the bearded woman, come and see the original Wolfman. If it's a full moon, we'll have you howling at the moon in fright. Now featuring, after 27 long-awaited years, Pennywise the Clown. He puts on a show like no other, turning into your deepest fears. Just don't bring your children too close or he might just take a bite. And don't forget to check out our final performance of the night, Deadites After Midnight. Think of zombies meets burlesque in this very provocative performance. Must be 18 or older to gain admission to that one, folks. Now, this isn't just a performance, it's a parade of the peculiar, dipped in sugar and rolled in dread. At the Spook Show spectacle, the popcorn's stale, the candy corn's cursed, and every laugh comes with a shiver. Use code HackerSlash at the gate to get 13% off your first admission.
Welcome back, folks. You're now entering the spoiler zone for Candy Corn from 2019, which is a universal hack. Now, we have so much to discuss, but before we jump into all that nonsense, Sean, let's go through those kills.
Yeah, you know what? I do want to talk about these kills. We had some redeeming moments with some of these kills. Let's face it, we definitely had some redeeming moments. This movie ends up with a surprising 8 kills. And with the pacing, I gotta admit, I didn't think we were going to get there, to be honest with you. But it's when we get to some of these kills where the movie stands out a little bit, especially with those practical effects. So, you know, we have everything from like decomposing bodies, decapitations, limb removal, and some good old-fashioned chiropractic spinal work. So I gotta know, Chris, which one of these kills got your sweet tooth?
Okay, none of them really did. I want to just start right there. But also, I want to acknowledge the one that was perhaps lifted straight from 2018's Halloween. And that was Decapitated Dad Head, the sheriff, Courtney Gaines, Malachi himself, decapitated and carved to look like a jack-o'-lantern, sitting down there to be presented.
I mean, it was a good kill, for sure. For sure, ripping off, Halloween 2018, for sure. But nonetheless, like, it was one of the few kills that I think visually looked really, really good. I gotta admit, there were some kills in here, like, if you're not really looking close, like, you probably have no fucking idea what's going on. Like, I know that, when Gus dies, technically his stomach is being torn open, but I could swear if I didn't, like, pause and rewind, he was just being choked out. Like, it literally just looked like he was being choked to death. And also, I want to just also point out that how are people actually dying from some of these kills? Because, like, we have Carol's tongue getting ripped out, but, like, what else happened? You know what I mean? You can survive that.
Yeah, you can, except in this fictional world, they forgot to do the Mortal Kombat finish him move. And that's the real disappointment.
Yeah.
So, for sure, I'm right there with you. Someone who I don't think could come back from really anything was our boy Mike. And can we just pause for a moment and acknowledge that Mike is played by an actor named Jimothy?
Jimothy, I didn't. Wow.
Jimothy. Okay. Jimothy is his name. Good for you, Jimothy. But having your arms ripped off of your sides after, you know what? It seems like you didn't really give a shit about your dad this entire time, but you see what happens to your dad, and then you really get taken out. The piece de resistance, right? The ultimate last one at the end of the row. I'm sorry. If I was planning my vengeance tour, I'd start with the person who fucked me over the worst.
Yeah.
I don't know why people want to lead up to it. I think maybe because, okay, I'm going to plan out this row of torture and I'm going to make them wonder what's happening and I want to really soak it up.
Yeah. I mean, everyone probably watching this movie wants Mike to die first, because not only was he the one that like really instigated everything, he was also like the biggest douchebag in this movie. And we're going to get to that a little bit later as well when we really dive into some of these characters. The logistics of anyone getting their arms ripped off, though, I always wondered about, like, what kind of sheer force does it take to like literally just completely detach two arms like it's on an action figure? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the ball joints aren't really sound.
Really, really wild for sure. But listen, I really thought, like, I wasn't prepared for it, but I was like really here for Bobby's spine getting ripped out of his body.
Yeah, he got alpha from 28 years later.
Yeah, it was fucking great, actually. Like, I was like, okay. At first, I was like, oh, it's just going to be like another one of those, like, is he just choking everyone to death, or is he like just squeeze? This is another one that started out where I didn't know what was going on. Like, I thought his head was just being squeezed. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't figure out what was happening. And then when it, like, the camera panned out and you see the spine getting ripped out, I'm like, oh, damn. Okay, here we are.
Yeah.
Great.
But you know what? Okay, yes, I felt that, and then I felt the immediate, like, oh, there's some digital shit happening in here that does not look good.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that digital aspect. I mean, there was a good amount of practical effects in a lot of these moments, but then you can see some troubling moments. Like when we see Jacob's mother, that was a pretty good moment of practical effects. It looked pretty good.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that does look really good. But I think my thing, and I felt this way actually in the Mean one, I don't want to be able to search where you found that effect from. I don't want to go to Envato Elements. I don't want to go to any stock site. I don't want to go to Adobe stock. And I don't want to see the vector files for where you're pulling this fake blood. I don't want to see any of these animations. I don't want to see none of it. I want to live in a world where I think y'all just made this shit up on your own. But when it looks that apparent, as it did with the spine pull, yeah. It's fair. We don't want to see any of that bullshit for sure. What I can say, and you mentioned it, Chris, though, really did enjoy the mask. The look of Jacob's mask was actually, it was nasty, it was gruesome, and listen, it was scary. If that mask was available as an actual Halloween mask, I could get down with that. Yeah, it does make me think of, I think if this movie was a little bit better, it could have gone on to have the legacy that Hatchet has with Victor Crowley, where you're never probably going to punch right up into the class of like, okay, iconic slashers, but you're going to make a pretty good run for yourself. And I think Jacob had the potential of that in terms of just how he looked. I would have enjoyed that. There's some other stuff in this movie overall that looks well, right? I'm a huge fan of the way this movie looks in terms of its cinematography, but I also really like the set dressing. And not that, okay, I guess this is like saying a lot because you really took the best one here with Jacob's aesthetic. But the little retro Halloween decorations that are hanging up in the back of some of these establishments, like it really has this is a town that loves Halloween, but like it's not a Halloween town level Halloween fan. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like it's a very like a small town, old school, like not over the top. I mean, you can tell it's not like today, because today you have people spending thousands of dollars on animatronics. Listen, I'm not going to say that I don't also spend a lot of money on animatronics, you know? I got the 13-foot jack sitting in my front yard, but like I'm just saying, like nowadays is much different than when I was a kid. Like you have these animatronics that have gone off the walls and you got characters galore. You can really do it up. if you go to some neighborhoods now where like they have wraparound porches, some of these people have been collecting these things for years, so they've got like a dozen or more of these like props everywhere. Back in the day, you might have one semi big prop, but you're really just putting a couple of little spooky lights up, maybe a couple of ghosts, maybe some spider webs. You got some fun stuff. It wasn't crazy, but it was enough, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's that kind of modest Halloween decor that I really, really appreciate. And it's part of what does give this movie like the fall feeling for me.
For sure. It's also those little string lights, the little jack-o'-lantern string lights that you could still kind of find. Like, I think I have one of those string lights. Dude, Spirit has a little Terrifier, like Art the Clown string lights with little Terrifier heads. Yeah, I almost bought it. Yeah, I almost bought it for sure. But like, those are the type of like vintagey, like horror decor that you can like throw up like half-ass and it still kind of looks good, you know?
Yeah, damn. I really need to decorate. I haven't done a thing for decoration in my apartment outside of putting all my horror movie shit in one room for this office. But the Halloween decoration I need to make. I feel like, though, I have a black cat now. I feel like she's decoration enough because I also feel like if I put any hot decorations up, she's going to tear them down.
Oh, that's cats. That's cats. Wait till you get to my house. There's a lot of Halloween shit up.
Yeah, I'm going to just like post up in your house for like a day and just soak it in.
You get all the Halloween vibes for sure.
Yeah.
Listen, what really we could have done with this movie, honestly, and, you know, not to go back to Jacob's aesthetic, but like, we're just thinking of like the story being kind of thin and it kind of being basic. And we love the look of Jacob's mask and everything. And it's not even that it's Jacob, right? It's just like the mask, right? So if we're thinking about like what they could have done with this movie, like think about like if this, whatever we're calling him, like the carnival, like leader, the carny leader, you know, the ringleader, you know what I'm saying? Like if he were to have this little voodoo witchcraft box that with this haunted mask type thing where he can put this mask on you, do some kind of ritual, bring some dead body back to life to do his bidding, you know, we're getting a mix of like this like familiar horror trope mixed with like some white zombie stuff, like you're bringing someone back to the dead to be your like killing slave.
Yeah, and it's also you know, put on a mask, do some weird shit. It's also giving Silver Shamrock.
For sure. It's definitely giving that. And it didn't have to just be Jacob is what I'm saying. Like we didn't have to have the overly played like I got bullied and now I'm seeking revenge on the people that bullied me. It could have started that way. And then as he killed a few people or took those guys out, like we could have taken those guys out quick. Mike could have died like within an hour. That would have been great. And then Jacob would have ran out of gas and then he could have used that mask to put it on another dead body, maybe Mike, and make Mike do the bidding, you know what I mean? And go after this town. And it could have just like really cycled into this mass killing spree and it could have been way cooler.
Oh, it really could have. Again, this movie didn't live up to its own potential. For sure.
For sure.
Maybe we need a rewrite and just see how this movie could have gone. But something that I think captures a little bit of this movie's potential is one of, I think, the best scenes. And I say this very generously, to be clear. I was hard pressed to think through this. But there's a moment where the sheriff goes to Dr. Death in the carnival, and name is Lester, goes over there and says, "Hey, there's some shit going down." And Dr. Death is talking to him like, "Hey, yeah, you mean when my employee got ruffled up, right? Got his ass kicked, etc." There's a point where the sheriff walks away and Dr. Death is laughing to himself and going on this rant on how he has traveled so often and he has learned two things about cops. And he talks about just how ineffective they are, how they only respond after the problem has been there or after the problem has occurred and not able to do anything before it even happens. And then he talks about not trusting any of them. And that was, I think, his singularly best moment of acting in this entire movie. I'm like, okay, damn, look at you.
It was good for sure. And, you know, you're thinking about it. You're like, oh, yeah, you're sitting there like, yeah, that's so true, man. Like, yeah, okay, I'm with you. I'm with you right here. Okay. yeah, let's go. I'm with the freaks. Let's do this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I'm on your side for this one. But then it just quickly falls apart after that. So, like,
Yeah.
it's just like, that's what this movie does. That's what this movie does.
Yeah, and that's such a bummer, right, Sean? Because again, this is where this guy is like, okay, is he scratching his way up to Captain Spaulding territory? This
Mhm.
movie is a shell of Rob Zombie's DNA.
It truly, truly is. And, you know, I can't say honestly that I loved any like one full scene in this movie. And I know that's like kind of cheating to say, but and let's face it, this one was pretty bland. You know, we talked about all the kills in this movie, and I truly think a lot of the great moments in this movie come within snippets of those kills. But there are a number of different things that I love to pick out of a bunch of these scenes. And maybe we can talk about all that stuff, right? Because I loved trying to pick out like what old school classic horror movies they had playing in the background with some of these scenes. And it was really hard to tell. And I think that at least one of these movies might have been bullshit. There was one that maybe first played that I was like, what movie is that we're seeing? And I think it could have been like that movie in Home Alone where it like really felt like a legit movie, but it was actually just a bullshit movie to be played in the background just for ambiance. But as like the movie progressed, I did hear a line that reminded me of a movie, and I had to look this up, and it is a line from Clue in 1985. That was like the whole like built this mansion line. So like that throughout out there. And then we have the old school theater scene where they're playing The Phantom Creeps from 1939 with Bela Lugosi, which is a great sci-fi horror flick. So like I had a lot of fun picking out little snippets like that out of this movie. So I gotta, I can't be mad at those moments for sure.
Wow, you have already given this more rewatch value than I initially expected, because now I'm thinking, what else did I fucking miss?
All right. There's a few little things in here, and we're here for that. But yeah, like the scenes in this movie, none of them are like true standouts. You did talk about like the decapitation being kind of like a ripoff of Halloween 2018, but it is kind of a good buildup, right? Like you have Mike, who like this guy is just such a douchebag. He's such a douchebag, but he's there. And of course, he decides to go on his own after everyone told him not to. His dad told him, like, wait for me, probably. I'm going to come get you, whatever. This motherfucker's like, I'm going to go fucking fuck some shit up, So here he goes. And he shows up, and guess what happens? His dad's car rolls up. The headlights are glaring. You can't see shit. You could see this moment in his face where he's like, this is great, right? Like my dad's here. He's going to save me. You could tell this guy has been coddled by his dad his whole life, right? Like he could talk shit,
but also doesn't respect his dad.
Yeah, exactly. But he knows that like if he starts shit that he can't finish, his dad will be there to fucking clean it up, right? Because his dad's the sheriff. And so like he sees the headlights of his dad's car pull up, and he's like, hell yeah. You can see him smiling a little bit. And as he walks up, he can't see. And as he finally realizes that his dad's decapitated head with the eyes gouged out and everything is just like staked right there for him to see, the realization of that and the horror and the sadness kicks in, and then somehow his arms get ripped off, and then like it kind of fizzles out from there. It kind of could have been way cooler, but like that moment, that buildup was actually really, really good. The same way that the reveal of Jacob's mother, her decomposing body with the worms crawling around her after they lifted the blanket up, it was a good moment for just that moment. You know what I mean? But then they ruin these moments with these like insane, like I don't know if they're trying to build this hypertension with these really like intense ambient sounds that linger, and everything kind of gets muted, and it just feels like they're trying to be artistic with it, but it just feels awkward, and it didn't work.
Yeah, they really try to layer in so much here. Even circling right back to Jacob's mom. Okay, so you're trying to pull a Norman Bates angle on this. What are we doing, guys? Come on.
Yeah, what was that? Like, she had been dead for a while, right? To be decomposed that way. So, like, was that pre him going mad? Like, pre him being, it had to have been.
Now it's like the movie's way of circling back and saying, well, I guess he deserved to be bullied.
Yeah, like, it's mixed emotions. Like, are you committing to this or are you not committing to this? It just felt a little bit strange. Obviously, something off. You can see from the very beginning, the kid is sitting there, like, eating in front of a TV that's not playing, and okay, we might have some issues. That's okay. But yeah, we don't see the parents. So yeah, something weird is going on for sure. Something strange is happening.
But again, it sets things up as if to say, yes, we are clearly projecting what is happening here, and we're going to give you some room for interpretation because we'll know that you'll come up with something. But it doesn't commit fully enough or give us anything interesting enough to make me want to do that work. It's just like, all right, cool. You just muddied the waters. And that's really, this is a movie where you could have gone even simpler and probably executed much better.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then like we get to these characters, and I gotta say, like, we have a plethora of characters in this movie, and I don't know if any of them were great choices. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, first of all, Steve's mustache, I don't know what that was, but listen, folks, if you're going to have a mustache that starts off as a mustache and then there's gaps, clear gaps, and then you have another mustache almost like a Fu Manchu, but you really just know that you couldn't grow out the full mustache, I'm here to tell you, you shouldn't have a mustache. Just shave that shit off. Put some Rogaine on it. I don't know what you got to do. Whatever you have to do to paint it in, I don't know, but you need a full mustache if you're going to do a mustache. That's just a rule. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Listen, there are middle school children with thicker mustaches than you.
Yeah. And you got to know when to just let it go. It's like if you're going to be balding, but you still have your ponytail in the back, it's time to let that go. And I don't want to offend anyone out there, but I'm just here to save you and just let you know that it's time to let it go.
Yeah, all we're saying is have priorities.
Right.
But the other
Commit
side
to
of
the
this,
bit.
going back to Steve, he was so far out of Carol's league. Like, what was she doing with him? This was a classic case of a small town 2 is a 10 for them.
That's what it is. That's what it is. When you have these small towns, you have nobody to choose from. When you look at the whole gang there, who are you going to choose? Like, not Mike. That's for sure.
Yeah, he at least looks like he takes showers.
Yeah, he looked like, other than the mustache, he looked like maybe the better one to choose from. I don't know. I mean, there was also like the hipster kid, right? Like he was okay, I guess, right? Like Bobby.
No, Bobby looked like a prepubescent child. No,
he was okay, I guess. Like, you know,
you're
as
gonna
far
get some
as
sideways looks if you're dating Bobby.
For sure. Yeah, just not great. Also, I just want to say, like, we've talked about Mike being a douchebag. We can talk about how Mike didn't give a shit the whole movie about anything, about any of his friends, and then finds out that all of his friends got murdered, and all of a sudden he's crying. Really? You have emotion out of nowhere after everyone that has been telling you what the fuck was going down, and you're like, I don't give a fuck?
Fuck all the way off, Mike. Fuck all the way off. Get out of here.
It was bad. It was bad. Also, what the fuck was with Mike's chest hair? Because that shit was like, are we going on a magic fucking carpet ride or what, dude? Like, that thing was coming up, right? Like, almost to the neck.
Yeah, first off, Sean, I need you to know that is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. It's specifically body hair being where there ought not be body hair. Specifically, okay? So, like, for me, that's chest hair. Sorry, I know it's very normal. I get it, but also, I'm gay. Fuck it. It's chest hair, and then it's lower back hair. And also back hair. Actually, no, back hair as a whole is looking very werewolf. And when you have a thicket of fucking chest hair to the point where it protrudes through the fibers of the shirt that you're wearing, absolutely
that's weird.
Fucking not. See, and again, I did official portraits in the Navy, and had to like tidy up officers' uniforms and get really close to them and adjust everything. I saw way too many hairs piercing through shirts. Fuck that.
Ooh.
No, hate it. But also, maybe there should have been a transplant situation. Maybe Mike was harvesting the hair to give Steve on his mustache.
Maybe Mike could have been donating his hair to make Steve's mustache whole. You know what I mean? That's like what friends do, right? Like, you should help each other out.
Yeah,
I think you have plenty.
We group murder and we donate hair.
Yeah, plenty of stuff to go around. But let's just talk about Gus for a second, because Gus reminds me of a character that you would get in The Greasy Strangler. Like, that is just not, like, it's just so off-putting, this character. Like, he's just so weird, and it's like, it's not even that it's, like, really offensive. He's just, there's something about this guy that's just so strange and so weird and so sleazy that you just don't, you just, like, ooh, you're like, I don't want to talk to this guy.
Yeah. take Napoleon Dynamite, make him a perv, and put him in a Rob Zombie movie, you've got Gus.
Yeah.
Gus's line in this film was, there are a lot of asses. Some were kicked, many were sticked.
Yeah.
And that's not exact. That's not exact phrasing. I'll have to go back to the actual quote, but the delineation between kicked and sticked, sir, what the fuck?
Yeah, and also, none were sticked, to be fair. There was literally one girl with them, and it was Steve's girlfriend, Carol, who, by the way, she got the shit end of the stick, really, because she wasn't really there. Like, obviously, could she have tried to do something more in the moment? Sure. However, she did go and tell the police, technically.
She did.
So, like, for her to go out kind of sucks in that regard. I'm just looking at some of these kills, her tongue getting ripped out, like Bobby's spine being ripped out, right? Like,
because he doesn't have a spine.
Because he doesn't have a spine. Steve is getting his ears like torn off, because
he didn't listen to her.
He didn't listen. So it's almost like it's very interesting, but like the tongue getting ripped out of Carol, she did say something. So like she didn't say something in the moment, but she did say something before and after.
Yeah.
So
she should have used her tongue when it counted, according to Jacob.
I guess, yeah. It's given very like Seven vibes, only not super biblical.
Yeah. Again, another layer that maybe others would struggle to find in this film. Not because of a lack of trying, but because of a lack of want to.
Yeah.
I want to circle back here, though, because Carol goes to the cops. She shares with them that there might have been a murder. And what does he say? Well, no one reported anything. Bitch, she's reporting something. That's literally what she's here for. And you're just like, well, no one reported anything, and I would be the first to know. Get the fuck out of here,
obviously
Sheriff.
not.
Yeah.
It's because it was about his little boy, Mikey.
Nepo
that's what it was.
Mikey.
And how old was Mike for him to be sitting on the couch, like ignoring his dad like he was like 12 years old, Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just lame.
Fucking terrible. But hey, bless Tony Todd. And bless PJ Souls and bless Courtney Gaines for taking these roles. PJ Souls was just a little ray of sunshine. Even if her and Tony Todd didn't really do shit in this movie. I was like, you know what? Thanks. You're like a nice, cool sip of water.
Yeah, for sure. I guess Courtney Gaines probably had the biggest role in the movie, but like we could have done better. It's a toughie. I honestly, though, I think the best part about this movie was probably, it's got to be just the atmosphere, right? Like, is it really just the small town fall vibe? Is that really the best part of this movie? Is that what we have to go with? I think so.
Yeah, Sean, I would take that, and I would circle it right back again to the vintage Halloween decorations that were in the background in this movie. Yeah, this felt good. If I want to evoke the spirit of fall in a film, and I want to just put some random bullshit on YouTube, you can just search for any kind of scape situation. Yeah. I was watching a 6-hour loop of 90s Halloween earlier. Not watching it, but up in the background while I was like editing and doing some other work. And I would just glance over every once in a while. I'm like, that looks fucking cool. That's what this movie's for. That looks fucking cool.
Pretty much. That's a good way to put it, for sure.
Yeah.
But sadly, this one was a one and done for me. I can tell you that in full confidence. I don't see any reason to come back to this movie other than maybe putting it, like you said, as a looper thing in the background. Maybe to put this on while you're handing out candy and not even in front of the TV screen.
Wow. That really was just such a specific dig in that movie. That's great. Yeah. I would loop it in a playlist of Halloween movies if I needed to pad the body count here, but there are so many other better Halloween horror movies to watch, folks, and I assure you, this is episode 412 of this show. We've gotten some fucking bangers out there, and if you're participating in the 31 Days of Horror Challenge with us this year, then fret not, we have a custom tracker that you can check every single day to get recommendations for spooky season films, and none of them are candy corn. But for now, there you have it, folks. Candy corn from 2019 has earned a universal hack. Now, there's so much to say about this film, but the discussion doesn't end here by any means.
Yeah, if you want to see what kind of Halloween pranks we got going on this spooky season, consider supporting the show and visiting patreon.com/hackerslash. You can enjoy even more of the show, including bonus content with early access, extended episodes with our B-sides, which, to remind you, are free sides for the spooky season. Also, some movie nominations and, of course, live shows.
We'll see you next time, folks. And remember, I'll be here to keep the balance.
Everybody's got to be a fucking hero.
So this movie starts, as many horror movies do, with a classic prank gone wrong. Sean, how many horror films off the dome can you think of where a prank goes wrong and all of a sudden here we are 120 minutes later and someone's getting fucked up?
There's a pretty extensive list for sure. Like, even if I can't think of everything in the moment, I'm sure there is a long list of movies that go off of this kind of trope.
There really is. Let's just go off with a couple here, Sean. The Burning.
The Burning, for sure.
Mm-hmm. The House on Sorority Row, and later on Sorority Row, its remake.
For sure.
Prom
I know
Night.
what you did last, or I'll always know what you did last summer. The prank that went horribly wrong in the mountains, landlocked fucking fisherman killer.
Yes. I'll always know what you did last summer, because the other ones weren't really pranks. They were just, accident, secret murder pact. No, yeah. I'll always know what you did last summer. Fuck that movie. Terrible. Okay. Prom Night. Prom Night is technically a prank gone wrong. We love that.
Oh.
Then there's also Terror Train. Have you seen Terror Train?
I think I have seen Terror Train.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
And the magician, David Copperfield.
Oh my God.
What a fucking great movie that was.
Oh my God. Listen, my favorite spooky season prank movie, Trick or Treat.
Yeah, that's really fucking good. Hell yeah. Absolutely.
That is a great one, for sure.
Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2.
So true. So true, which also Carrie.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Prank towards the middle of the movie, but yeah, still a prank gone wrong.
It's still a prank gone wrong.
The inverse of a prank gone wrong. And I think this movie gets credit for it because typically we see that the prankers take it too far and then they fucking kill someone accidentally. But Halloween Ends.
Very true.
Or Corey Cunningham. He was the prank. And still, this kid fucking accidentally took it too far. Yeah, it ends up dying on the fucking floor right there.
Could we potentially consider even like Friday the 13th Part 3 as a prank gone wrong?
Ooh.
Technically?
Yeah.
Technically?
Yeah. Absolutely, we could.
Yeah. You definitely have... Yeah, Shelley definitely pranking
Shelley
everyone.
Was bebopping around everywhere, fucking around. Absolutely, yeah. That whole movie's a fucking prank gone wrong, but I love it. It's still great.
Oh my gosh. What other movies are there? There has to be... I mean, there's a lot. I'm sure we're not thinking of them. I'm sure there's so much more.
Yeah, if we go back through 412 episodes, I could probably go down the whole list and we just like bam, 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 bam. However,
I think we got a lot of them for sure.
We did. But something that does beg the question, Sean, what the fuck are Halloween pranks? I don't know what this is. I think, okay, I've heard of maybe TPing a house, but where I lived in Texas, that was just like a prank to do, not a Halloween prank to do.
Yeah, I think TPing a house and stuff definitely can be a year-long prank, depending. But I also know that what is it? Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting old now. Isn't it like the night before Halloween is like the prank night? Or
no,
am I
Sean,
just making that up?
I need you to know that I'm here to learn. You are bringing a level of caucasity in culture that I have not been tapped into my entire life. Because as a sheltered Hispanic kid, I can assure you I was doing no pranking.
Let's see.
The biggest fucking prank of my life was the fact that I wasn't allowed outside.
Yes, the night before Halloween is known as Mischief Night, Devil's Night, or Cabbage Night, depending on if you like cabbage, I guess. I don't know. It's a tradition where some communities allow or expect mild pranks like TPing trees. You can do some, I guess, like little vandalism like that that's not like over the top. But when we did it, like it was TPing trees. I guess you don't really TP a house too much. It would just be the trees in the front yard. There's some etiquette, right? Like you don't really you don't think about the consequences when you're like a little teenager, but egging somebody's house is probably one of the worst things you can possibly do. And I know that's also one of those things that's not necessarily just a Halloween prank. It could happen all year round. But when you egg someone's house and it sits there and it hardens, you know how hard it is to clean the egg off of a house or anything, a car?
Tell me, how bad is it?
It's bad. It's bad. It takes forever. It's hard. You have to scrub at it. It doesn't come off easy. It's a pain in the fucking ass.
Okay, here's what we need. Entrepreneurial spirit. Sean, one of you, it's like creating the problem and selling the solution to the problem. Egg the fucking house, and then the next day, sell your services to clean it up.
Yeah, I guess so. That'd be funny. Yeah, I guess that's the whole thing. Like, you can be like, just show up in the morning randomly and be like, hey, I
can't help but notice you all got.
Good thing I'm here because this is kind of what I do, you know?
Yeah.
Just driving by.
Got egg on you. Don't worry, I got it.
Just happen to be driving by and notice you got egg. I specialize in egg removal.
Yeah, I can't help but notice you've been yoked.
Yeah. Very, very strange. There are some pranks that I think are kind of fun that I think, you know, there's a certain level of severity to them, right? Like you can do simple tricks. You can do like placing things in the candy bowl, right? Little fake spiders. You can place those around. You can, one thing that I've always wanted to do, but I haven't actually committed to yet is being in full costume, like in a rocking chair, holding the candy bowl, acting like just a prop holding the candy bowl and scaring everybody that comes up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's fucking... See, Sean, this is... You with your tall ass frame, you are born for this work. Why the fuck aren't you doing it?
I got to commit to it one of these years, at least for like a couple rounds of kids just to have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I haven't done it. But I think that's acceptable for sure. But, you know, there's some other things that can get a little bit wonky, right? Like you can, well, are these just pranks like in general? But like I remember hearing about some of this stuff, like you like covering like a toilet bowl in plastic wrap, you know what I mean? And hoping that somebody doesn't notice because that gets messy quick. That could be bad for sure. But yeah. Oh, Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, what a great band.
Great band for sure, but also like
that's a good way to get killed on Halloween though, because of Trick or Treat and Sam. You don't you don't mess with the pumpkins.
You don't mess with the pumpkins. You don't blow out the candles and the jack-o'-lanterns too early. That's definitely something you don't want to do. But that is something like when we think of even like Hocus Pocus, they're smashing pumpkins, you know, and doing their whole thing, little gang of bullies.
Yeah, don't light the black candle with a virgin.
I've smashed at least 2 pumpkins in my day. I don't remember if they were mine or somebody else's, but I do remember throwing a pumpkin into the street once or twice.
I have never smashed a pumpkin in my life.
I can tell you it's not that exciting. Yeah, I don't see like where the thrill of it all comes into play. Especially depending on like how long it's been sitting out there, because you end up picking it up and it's like moldy and gooey and gushy, and then like it falls apart and your hand gets nasty. Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay,
so the first time I ever carved a pumpkin was in 2012.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh! And again, I told you the story, Sean, about how I dated a white girl who introduced me to pumpkin carving.
Right.
We carved Jack, and I was so happy with myself. I was so proud of myself. I was like, "Oh, look what I did! It was great." So we go out to sea. Yep. So I carved this pumpkin on like, gosh, I want to say this was like a Thursday night or a Friday. And we're supposed to only be gone for a couple days. And our workup gets extended and extended and extended. So in my apartment is sitting this pumpkin that I carved. And it was the worst fucking thing I have ever smelled.
Oh, no.
It was fucking terrible.
Man, how long was it sitting
2 weeks.
There? Oh yeah,
2 weeks. It was fucking terrible. Granted, we never really like went out to sea for like a day and came back. Like you'd go out, I think, for like friends and family day, but we were only supposed to be gone a couple days. Like I remember asking, we had this whole conversation, like, is this going to be okay to be here, etc. She's like, yeah, it'll be fine. We'll just probably have to throw it out like the day that we get back or the day after we get back, etc. Wherever that increment of time was. And then it was, at the end of the day, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That was fucking terrible. It was like all caved in on itself. Disgusting.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I've tried so many tricks too. Like they say, like, you got to clean them really good on the inside. Great. You got to wash them on the outside. Great. You got to like dip them in bleach or some crazy shit. I never had enough bleach to like really dunk them in bleach. That seems like a lot of work. But some people say there's little tricks to keep them from like rotting super quickly. But also, in Florida, in the state that we live in, like if that pumpkin is out for like an hour and a half, I feel like it's already growing mold. So that's why, yeah, we usually have been like, I think the first year we moved out here, it's a little different in Colorado, right? Like when we, or even California, because it gets colder and it's a little bit dry, it's drier. So you can like put the carved pumpkin out there and it might look pretty good for about a week. And then it's out there and then it doesn't matter if it gets mushy, you just get a trash bag and kind of like finagle it in there and then you're good. But, we moved out here, we did some carvings, we put them out there. They were like dead in a day. Like we were like way early in the season. We're like, well, there goes that. So then the next time that we carved pumpkins, we're like, okay, we carved them a little bit later. We kept them inside a little bit longer. Then we put them out there. It still didn't last. Then we started carving them and just leaving them inside and like putting them out like on Halloween night. And like, even then they don't last that long, even in the house. And then like this year we're like, maybe we'll just carve on Halloween.
That actually is great. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah. Maybe that's just the thing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to carve one so badly this year. I need to find out where and when I'm going to do it. But I was thinking about this as you're talking. I'm like, why not just dip it in fucking acrylic or like whatever the fuck? You know what I mean? What is that?
Yeah.
Resin? Yeah, just dip it in resin and see what happens.
I guess that would
at this
probably
point, fucking hairspray it. You can't do anything worse than what you're already doing.
Hairspray it.
Let it hold.
Yeah.
Cover it up in fucking hair gel,
Yeah. There's some crazy pumpkin carving you can get into too. There's like the people that like they don't even cut through it. They like shave into some of it.
Yes. So I have been watching on my time off. I watched like outrageous pumpkin carving or some shit. Anyway, it's like a whole series on HBO Max. And it's a competition of pumpkin carving. And one of the challenges was you had to, on a pumpkin, depict 3 different scenes of a ghost. Like before they were dead, how they died, and then what their ghost energy is like. And the people who were shaving and like cutting things out, punching out, and then also backlighting it, like they got the thinnest little shaving of pumpkin to like be like a transparent ghost. It was stunning, Sean.
It's crazy what people can do, really, honestly. Pretty
I started doing a little bit of the shaving in the last time I carved a pumpkin in Virginia. I mean, I'm not very good at it at all, but I was like starting to like get into it a little bit. Maybe I should pick that up as a hobby this fall. We'll see.
You never know. It's a fun time to carve pumpkins, especially if you just like, you got a good spot at a table, you're carving the pumpkins, you got a good horror movie on. Maybe you got some candy on the side. Who knows? Maybe you got a spooky drink or something like that. And then, it's like maybe like towards the evening, dusk, and then you get to light those suckers up right when you're done, put them out there, and it's the vibe.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. Fuck. That's perfect, Sean. That's perfect. Maybe I'll do that when I have my first set of days off in October. Maybe I'll do that.
Sounds like a good time.
And this classic pumpkin. I'm here for a good time, not a long time.